Okay, guys, so I'm going to do the quick demonstration for adding gouache paint. If you're at home at this point, you are using either your watercolors, and if you ended up getting gouache, you can use them, or you can continue with using watercolors. If you didn't get a chance to get the watercolors, again, you can use acrylic paint. And for the first stage with acrylic paint, you did a really watered down, kind of translucent, transparent appearance, which allowed you, like this painting here, to have a lot of lighter areas, okay, with the watered down acrylic paint. So you're getting the illusion of watercolors, but not having watercolors. Your next step after that, if you're using acrylic, was to go in and start using a little less water, which will give you a more opaque look. Just applying that paint, mixing the colors as you need, but adding less water, just enough to glide your paint onto your surface. And if you didn't get a chance to get watercolor paper, of course, then you can use your canvas. But I'm really hoping that you guys were able to get the appropriate supply for the painting. So this part is more so for in-class students than remote, unless you are able to get gouache paint. And if you are, you can follow along with us, but it is not necessary. I did want to teach this medium because it would look great in addition to our watercolor painting. So I'm going to share with you my palette. Excuse me, I'm using the built-in webcam for the laptop, so the quality might not be as the same, and I'll have to be moving around the laptop to show you what we have. So right here below, I have a mixture of the colors that I am going to use for the watercolor, for the gouache. And as you notice, the gouache does not look like the watercolor paint. The gouache is in liquid form, not solid. Now, watercolors can come in liquid form like this as well. But notice how thick the color looks. It has almost the appearance of acrylic paint. So the best part that I like about gouache is that you can use it just like you can use watercolor paints and even acrylic. So I'm going to, of course, make myself a beautiful green color, and I'm going to take some of the yellow with the turquoise. Now, the more water that I use, look at how liquefied that is, okay? And I can apply that color in my painting if needed. Now, check this out. Even though that was way liquefied, okay, I want you to pay attention here at the watercolor look, okay, compared to painting with gouache. And that's really watered down. Look at how radiant and bold that color is. It gives even more of a saturated color where it's really beautiful. I love it. And so that's why mixing this gouache paint with a little bit on top of the watercolor can really help pull out the contrast of your painting. And I really love that illusion. So I can take a little bit of that color and really heighten, and I can go all the way up into my painting where I am heightening the yellow green colors that were there. And I don't want to do that everywhere, just sporadically, okay? And if I was using this color in my hot air balloon, I would do that as well. So let me do that. I want to now make, and I'm going to use the reference photo that you have on your at home, And with you, I wanted to go with the color. And I'm going to start with that green color at the bottom. But I have my black and white photo. I always put a black and white photo of every reference that I'm doing in color. Why? So that I can see how light or how dark I want my color to be. So I'm seeing here, this is a lighter value of that yellow green. And so I'm going to make that with my gouache paint. Now this time, if you would look here, I am not going to use any water. Okay, I'm just going to go straight with that paint, and I'm going to use the turquoise. I really love using turquoise instead of blue when I'm making my greens. It just depends on what kind of green I want to make, okay? And to make a yellow green, I really like using turquoise blue. To do a earthy green like grass, I'll use ultramarine blue. All right, so I can lay this color here and match it up to see. I'm going to show you that. I can use my photo reference as a reference and do a little dot where I know that yellow green will be, okay? And I test it out, okay? I can also take a photo of my yellow green color here and turn it to black and white. And I will be able to see if that's the same black and white value right here. That is a super good trick for you, okay? So now I'm going to find the area that I want my yellow green to be in my um, hot air balloon. And because I'm using saturated color, what is going to be here is going to really stand out strong compared to the watercolor paint that's really of the skin tone. So I need to be real careful when I'm applying it. So what I'm going to do is put just a little bit of water on my brush, and because I want to start in the part that's fading, okay? Because what I'm doing is a little bit different. I decided to do like a double image, a double exposure image, okay? So I'm going along here, and I see that till about right in this area there is where that yellow green is really going to stand out the most, okay? Okay, yes. All right. And now what I want to do is wipe my brush really good on my paper towel, and I want to get rid of any paint that's on there. And again, I'm doing a double exposure. And anytime I want something to look like it's on top of another color, I cleaned my brush, and I'm going to take that brush and apply it just clean, no paint on it. I'm going to keep drying it off, keep wetting, because I need to take the paper towel or the towel and kind of wipe in that area just a little bit, okay? And water that down even more, okay? Because I want the colors from my skin to come through in that area, not to be so bold, okay? Just right there in that area. So I'm going to be able to see a lot of the color of my skin underneath in this part. But as I go around, I'm going to see less of that. So now I'm going to use the paint straight from the palette without any water on it, okay? Just the paint color. And I'm going to look at where the values transition, and I'm going to start adding a little more of that color where it needs to go, okay? I might end up doing a lot of that, maybe yellow by itself in that area. Okay. And depending on the style that you are going with, if you're going with more realism, you're putting um, the exact texture that is needed for your painting. But if you're doing like impressionistic, you can just do lines that show. I'm going to get a little more of that turquoise now because I need to show my separation of lines. Okay, here. And I'm still allowing some of the blue from the watercolor pencil to come through there. I'm going to switch over brushes. Grab me a little water. I want to switch over brushes so that I can get a little more detailed, okay? So what's your main goal is when you are applying this gouache or even your acrylic paint, at this point, you're really getting in those saturated colors the best that you can, okay? And if it's double exposure, you're leaving some of the details of the other color underneath, okay? Now, what I want to do here is I do not want to put flat color, okay? Not on every part. Let me go back to my other brush. I'm going to add a little purple into my turquoise because I need a good shadow color and mix it with that green. That's it right there. That's what I wanted right there. And I'm going to literally do just lines. Fade that one in just a little bit. So this is the look of gouache. And it dries fast, very fast, just like acrylic paint. And do you have to use the same colors as the hot air balloon itself? No, you do not. And I think I want to go around this part. I think somebody had asked me that question already. I think so, in the comment section. And I do want you to use the concept of the hot air balloon. However, you do not have to use the same colors. And even as you notice here, my hot air balloon shape is just a tad bit different than the photo reference. When I give you a photo reference, I want you to try to use it to help aid you in your drawing process. It doesn't have to be exactly like it if we're not doing realism. Okay, realism is something different, right? Okay. So I'm loving what we have here. And again, my goal is to try my best. And I'm mixing this turquoise with that purple just to give myself some shadows, okay? What I do want you to do is pay attention to how the gouache lay in for you, okay? You will notice a little bit of gouache goes a long way. It's almost like oil painting. Y'all remember how we would put just a little dab of water, oil paint color, and boy, that color would just be like bang. It will come through real strong, okay? This is the same thing as that, just slightly, okay? So far so good. I want to take a little bit more my yellow green color that I mixed earlier, the turquoise and the yellow, and sprinkle it where I know that light shines in the area. Over here is more shadows. I can see those shadows. It's darker. So I'm not going to put that much yellow in the paint when I mix. All right. And I hear you, but I just don't see you. So this is pretty much it, guys, on gouache. And as I finish, I will take photos for you and submit my stages of this painting so that you can see how it's going. Okay? If you want to stay in a little longer here to see me paint this out, you can. Or if not, that's all for this painting demonstration. Just doing simple lines here to represent the change in color. I'm not interested in really realism. I just want to put the impressions of the change of colors. Okay, I'm going to get a little darker here in that shadow. I'm going to get even more violet and mix it with my turquoise and yellow. Violet, turquoise, and yellow. A little more violet in there to make it darker. Get that really good deep dark look I need. Okay. And yes, these do blend. Like if you go over color, it'll blend on top. Like that. And I'm allowing the blue from the sky to stay in some spaces, okay? Not going all the way deep in. I want to blend that in just a little more with the green so it doesn't have a strong shadow line. I want them to look kind of hard edged and soft edged at the same time, and that's really hard to do. But hey, gotta try everything, right? I get some just plain yellow by itself in that area. And sit back from it. Sometimes I scoot back from what I'm doing so that I can really, really, really see what's going on. If you're so close to your painting all the time, it's going to be very hard for you to get some values in because you're way too close to the painting. And I use long handle brushes. That helps a lot too. So I don't have to sit on top of my painting. I just want to highlight that just a little more. There we go. There we go. That's it. Like that. A little more of that yellow right there. Gonna wet my brush, dab on the paper towel, and barely hit that area with just water by itself so that I can make it look transparent, not losing a lot of the blue that's behind there. Yep, I like that section already. So in this part here, put a little bit of that yellow, and then I'm gonna build on up into the colors that I want. I do want some of the orange colors in here, and well, I think I'll go just red, and then I'll go orange, and then back to yellow, and then fade blue and the purple up in the top. But I'm gonna take my time and do that so that I can get the colors in like I want, which will be like this, faded into the skin with more water, then less water, leaving some clouds and some of the sky coming through. So I hope that this was informational for you. And as I continue to add gouache paint in, showing more of the saturated strong colors, I'll take photo progress pictures and I'll put them on to Google Classroom so that you can see how that looks. And I hope again that this was informational. If you have any questions on the project, all you have to do is just send me an email, or when you submit something, just ask the question there. All right, guys, have a great weekend. And this is again for also for next week video. So what I'm posting right now today will be for next week video, and you will just submit everything that you have worked on for this week and next week. Talk to you later.